Hey, everybody. Welcome to the James Manus show or whatever. Um, do a little housekeeping real quick. Today we got Jim Mooney, Director of Operations, Freedom Storage. Next week we have Damon Emerson from Store Suite is going to be on. After that, we have Shannon Carbonu from, why am I drawing a blank where she's from?
XPS.
XPS. I knew it, but I just couldn't think. Thank you, Jim. Then we have Scott Warden, Dave Knobler, Lynn Sykes, Sydney Wilda, Jensen. She'll be back on again. And then after that, I think I have, I didn't write it down yet, but I have a gentleman by the name of Kane, last name Kane. He's for finance. He's going to come on and talk about some finance in the self-storage industry. So with no further ado, Jim Mooney. Jim, tell us about yourself.
Thanks, James. I'm Jim Mooney, Jr. I'm Vice President of Operations for Freedom Storage Management. We own and operate 33 stores across Pennsylvania in the South. We go into Texas, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. Been in the industry almost 25 years now. Started as a site manager back in the day when we had no technology. We had yellow pages and knuckle buster credit card machines and paper leases and no internet, and uh, worked my way through that organization up through from a site manager through up to a VP of Ops, left them and joined Freedom in 2019, and been doing it ever since. I mean, I do a lot of consulting work across the country. Right now, I got clients in Washington, Alabama, Hawaii, California, just operational consulting. I love, me, James. I love talking storage. I love talking operations. I love figuring out how we can get just a little bit better. And one of the things I ask people all the time is, what would 3 more rentals a month do for your property?
Right.
That's huge.
So listening to you from the beginning, telling your experience, it's telling us that you're old.
Not as old as your brother.
True. Good
Hey,
point.
hey, 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 pretty
Anyway,
close though. Pretty close.
so
Actually, James, technically, I am 7 days older than your brother.
That
ah,
is correct.
okay.
That is absolutely correct.
That's pretty funny. So thanks for being lighthearted. Jim and I know each other. We've gone back a couple of years now. Obviously, John and my brother John, who's on, and Jess, everybody that's on the call right now. I believe even Scott knows Jim. Jim's a very good resource in the self-storage industry. Good guy to talk to, very enjoyable. We always have fun, nice conversations. But getting into the meat and potatoes of things, Jim, we talked earlier real quick before we came on. Um, Kind of wanted to break it down, from starting with, just so that people understand what you do and the people below you do, and what are their duties in general as far as operations go. Is there like district managers, store managers? Like what are you what do you uh what do you provide to a client that comes in and says, hey, I want Freedom, I want Jim Mooney to be on my team?
So yeah, James, we're a little unique because we run 33 stores. We run a hub and spoke model. So we have a lot of remote locations that don't have anybody on site. We have our what we call boots on the ground people there, 15 hours a week. So we have 4 main offices, and our office run anywhere from 7, 8, 9 properties in a hub. And I have 3 ladies in the office at most stores, sometimes 4. And then I have 2 area managers who work with me, Aaron and Stan, and they've been around for a while. They both started in store and worked their way up. Um, and we work as a team overseeing all those properties. We work with everybody's strengths and weaknesses. Some are more Stan is more hands-on certain days in certain aspects. Aaron's more technical with the software and the technology. So depending on where we're working at, who's going to do what, we kind of divide and conquer. We all try to help each other out. We all try to learn every day. So, but yeah, we have 30 to 30 stores, the 4 offices. We run everything out of my here in Pennsylvania. So even my stores in Texas and Tennessee and North Carolina, all the activity, the rental activity, the collection calls, the note taking, all that stuff handled at my stores in Pennsylvania, and through the technology we're using through our software, we're able to utilize rental completion links. So all the rentals are done remotely. We use the DaVinci locks on the property. We use Store Pass on our phones, and they can pay, upload their driver's license, all those things as well, to allow us to be more efficient. Because when you have a smaller property, 200 units, 300 units, whatever it is, no matter when you staff an office, you're always going to miss somebody. So by us being able to bring everything internally to Pennsylvania, the girls are in the office 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 8 to 12 on Saturday. We have the call center behind us. So even if you're calling from Texas or Alabama or Georgia, when you call the number, you're going to get somebody in the office and be able to talk to a live person, be able to help them out, make a payment, rent a unit, inquire about also everything's done up here. So we've developed a good system, so we don't have to be on site. Because James, and I know, no matter what, even if you had a store and all, can we be there 12 to 5 every day, you're going to miss somebody. But by using technology, which your brother has finally adopted a little bit of, you can take care of the customers when they need to be taken care of.
So basically, I'm a guy, I'm driving by a facility, I pull up out front, I'm like, oh, gate's locked. How am I gonna rent something? What am I doing at that point?
So we actually have it on signs on our property. It says, sorry we missed you. And there's QR codes, rent now, pay now. Also the storefront, because we realize some people still want to call. So we can get you either way, and the website's there as well. So the QR code to rent takes you right to the website, of course, to rent. The payment one drops you right into the payment portal, so you can just pay your bill and go. We are also using some spider door technology for the keypads, that if you pull up to the keypad and you're late, we use their gate collect. So if, James, you come to the property, put your code in, it won't let you in, you immediately get a text message, hey, we see your property, you have a past due balance, pay right now to access the property. So we're using technology. But we have people that will show up on a property, call the number, that say, hey, I want to look at a 10 by 10. We'll let the manager, we can see them on camera. We give the customer the temporary gate code. We change regularly, right? They can go in. We show them to the unit. If there's a DaVinci lock on it, we tell them the code to get the lock off. If the tag, we tell them to break it. They go in. They look at the unit. We're still on the phone with them. Oh, yeah, this is perfect. This is what I want. Okay, great, James. I'm going to send you the link right now. Here's the link to rent the unit. They can click on the link. They can pay the bill. They can sign a lease, make the payment. There's a lock waiting for them in the unit, brand new lock they're going to pay for. Get their gate code and they're done. And we've had people that will go in, look at the unit, and rent right then and there. We complete the lease while they're on the property.
That's very convenient. So it's nice to know. And you were saying that, so you use a spider door, which I use spider door on one or more of my properties. I know of one for sure. But also you mentioned you have Store Pass and you have the internet, meaning the web page. So go through those. Like, I'm going to go and, okay, I decide that, I'm going to scan the QR code. It takes me to the web page.
Takes you right to the web page. You can pick the unit you want. You can click the rent now button or the reserve now button. Either one, you can rent or reserve. If you reserve, one of my managers is going to follow up with you immediately as soon as we get it, right? You rent the unit, it's going to take you right through the process. You can rent the unit online. You can upload your driver's license to the file. You can pay your bill, pick your protection plan, whichever level you want. We recommend certain levels for certain size units, of course.
Right.
Like I said, we have a brand new lock waiting for you in the unit. So when you're done completing the rental, you sign all your documents, you're going to get your receipts electronically emailed to you. You're going to get your gate code texted to you. So you have your gate code. You can go right in the property. If you have a DaVinci lock on, you take DaVinci lock off with the code that gets texted to you. You open the door, there's a brand new lock waiting for you. Put a slit in. All you do is open the package, secure your unit, you're good to go.
So I could actually pull up there with a full loaded truck and say, yep, I need a 10 by 12 and this was the closest one to me. So bleep, scan, go online, pay for everything, and then get a text message or whatever. I'm assuming text message, email, all that stuff. You have that kind of services. I think through Store Pass you do.
Yep.
Right. And then just go right in, open up the code that they give you, the DaVinci code. You go in, get your lock, keep your lock aside, load the whole thing up, shut the door, put the lock on it, and off you go.
The other nice thing, James, we do, because we on our website we do a lot of drone footage. We have a lot of footage. So when you rent the unit, when you get your welcome email from us, there's actually a link to the drone footage for the overhead shot of the property, and we've labeled each building. So when you get a property, if you got 12 buildings, you know okay, building B, okay, I know exactly where I'm going to go. And if you have Store Pass on your phone and you download Store Pass, it'll actually give you an interactive map to show you exactly in the building where your unit is, which is even better.
Right.
So we're trying to use as much technology as we can to make the customer journey as smooth as possible. Let's face it, dude. Storage is an event-driven business. You need us when you need us, and usually it's not the best time for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's happy times and sad times when you're using storage, right?
There's more sad times than happy times, dude.
Right. If I'm building a new house and I need to store my stuff, or hey, I just got divorced and I need to store my stuff.
My daughter's coming home from college this weekend with all her crap. So
yeah, I understand. Yeah. Awesome. So that's good to know how it works for you guys. In that, if you don't have people on site, I'm sure you do, obviously you said you had the protection plans. What about like, how are you guys doing your rent increases? Are you doing like a statistical control, like going, okay, the market rates shows that this rent here should be, I could get more money based on the market rate, or you can, let's even say like your occupancies, 98%, and all your 10 by 10s are gone, and you're like, hey, I need to get more people in on the 10 by 10s. How do you go about coming up with your not that I want any company secrets, but ballpark on how do you come up with your rent increases and stuff?
Well, before that, you touched on one thing I want to make sure people understand. Just because the stores are remotely run doesn't mean we're not there. We have boots on the ground people that are there 10, 15, depending on the size of the property, hours a week. They're doing our walkthroughs, they're doing our lock checks, they're checking our drop boxes, they're looking at the cameras, they're checking the gate log. So just because it's a small remote property doesn't mean it's not taken care of. We have people there minimum 15 hours a week, 3 hours a day, however it works out that day, that somebody's there. And with the cameras we have, we can see what's going on in the gate logs. We know what's going on. So just because it's remotely run doesn't mean there's nobody there. I just want to throwing it out
right.
for you.
No, and I understand that too, because I mean, with technology, I know that I can go on SpiderDoor, and I can look up, how many people came through the gate today, and who was it, because it's everybody gets their own random code. So, and then I have cameras on my site, so I can look at the cameras and like I know that kind of stuff exists. And it's nice to know too, you got somebody there that is walking around and making sure the property's clean, making sure there's not trash, making sure that one unit that's supposed to be empty is empty and doesn't have a bunch of stuff in it. And if it does, they can forward that information back to you guys. And then there could be a fee associated with that. And then you can tell the guy, hey, put that stuff in the dumpster or whatever that you guys have on site.
Exactly. There's a lot of things to it. And even just making sure people are locked the right way. How many times we've gone on a property and they forget to slide the latch and lock the door. So simple things. But back to your second question, rates are important right now, and we all know what the green door guys are doing with dropping rates on everybody and really then hitting them hard with existing tenant rate increases. And I know, working through SiteLink and some of the reports that are there that John and myself and Peter and a couple other people have developed over the years. I use a lot of technology and reporting and data to make those decisions. So if have sort of, you said 10 by 10s are 100% occupied, right? I'm looking to see on the reports, the unit demand tracking report and SiteLink, how many inquiries I've had in the last 60 days for that unit. But if I'm 100% occupied and I still got a lot of people inquiring, I'm going to push that rate harder than if I'm only had 5 inquiries. So I look at that data. So for me, the old expression garbage in, garbage out, I want to make sure data is accurate. So the more we make our managers log every lead gets into the system, we follow up on every lead, we have data to know what kind of inquiries are coming through us. Looking at the rate increases or rate tenant increase tracker report and SiteLink that we utilize. to look at how many times we do a rate increase and, how many people move out after that. So if you're pushing rate increases, you can put out 100 of them and you lose 40% of your customers because rate increases. Well, maybe I pushed too far, but if I'm only losing 6 to 10. But the other thing I look at, if I push out 100 rate increases, how many were at street, how many were below street, and how many were above street? The ones that were below street, I don't care. Not that I don't care.
Yeah,
I do care. But if they're going to move out anyway, the next person is going to rent at the higher rate anyway. So I'm going to win either way.
Right.
We look at our
that street rate. So
and we also, so on top of that, we use Veritech. You know about Veritech, the good, better, best model.
Yeah.
So we're pushing a lot of that as well. So we know that if James, you rent that 10 by 10 by the gate, say it's $100 unit, and my Veritech rate on that is 130. I'm going to push your rate closer to around the 130 because I know that if you move out, the next person is going to rent that one is going to be the higher rate.
Right.
So using technology and reporting and data drives everything with us, and we look at data all the time. And even like in District Manager, we use Paul Darden's QSTROM District Manager, whatever name he's calling it right now, to look at the thresholds. How many rate increases have you had in the last period of time? What are you, how are you going out? We also can go as far as looking at gate logs. We want to get that granular. How many times are you in and out of here? How many times are you on auto pay or not? So there's a lot of moving factors in rate increases, but biggest ones I look at is my inquiries. How many inquiries am I getting on that size unit? What's my rate variance on that size unit? And what's my pain point that I can afford to push? And again, using District Manager, I can tell you there's times I push too hard and I got to pull back a little bit.
Right.
But that's the great thing with technology. You can come back.
Now, a lot of times when I ask questions too, is being that all of us, we're all part of these different groups and social media, and you see the newer people coming in and going, hey, I want to do a full property rate increase, and everybody goes like, whoa, our opinion is, look at what you have, look at what's full. Do your street rates based off of other people in the market. And if you're full, if you're 100% full on your property, we know that's not good. Right. So, but if you're 100% full and it's just 10 by 10s, like I said before, you're going to focus on them and you're going to increase those. And if you drop down to 80% in there, you're still comfortable in that. But a lot of these newbies in the business that are learning about it, they want to do a full site increase, and I noticed that we all kind of go like, yeah, it's not such a smart idea, because if you lose 50% of your customers at one shot, it's going to hurt your bill paying for the next month, right? Or 2 or 3, right?
We do rate increases all the time, but James, one of the problems I've seen lately is how many people have got into our industry during the COVID high that only know the 99% occupancy, high rates, right? Peak income numbers. I got one guy I talk to regularly, and all he focuses on is peak income numbers. I'm like, dude, that number's not there anymore. It's not going to be there for a while.
The market
we rode the gravy train and we all made a lot of money. However, that's not normal. And if you go back, and I've done it a couple times as owners, I've looked at 2024 numbers, 2025 numbers, and I've looked back to 2018, right? 2019, pre-COVID. They're doing significantly better than 2018, 2019, but they don't remember that. All they remember is the peak in 22.
Right.
And they got to get past that.
Right.
They got to get past that, because those rates are not there anymore, and the demand's not there. I mean, our demand every month is down over previous year. So one of the things I talk about all the time when I speak and when I talk and consult is every inquiry is more important now than ever. You have to capture that one. You got to log it in. You got to follow up on it. So much so, James, that we use a mystery shopping company out of California, Dan Cosgrove's Mercantile Systems, right? It is so critical that if we mystery shop one of our managers, okay, on a walk-in or a phone call, and if it's not logged into SiteLink, it's an automatic 0. They failed. No matter how well they did on the shop, no matter what, it's a 0 because they couldn't follow up with the customer.
Right.
And your brother and I have had this conversation many times. What's the most important phone call to contact? Some people say it's the first one when you gather all the information. I mean, yeah, that's important. But for me, what we call the thank you call, or call the very next morning, hey, James, thank you for inquiring with us. Thank you for walking in my door. Thank you for calling me, is equally to, if not more important than the first one.
Right. Yeah, because everybody right now is they're watching their pennies, and it's important that if somebody's going to come in, you want to make sure that you're bringing them back in again. You want that sale, and I've talked to John, and I talk about everything all the time. But one of the things I said, one of the things that I said to him the other day was, like, if somebody comes in the door, there shouldn't be a reason that they leave without a storage unit, right? And some people shop around, and I get that they're going to leave. But if they say, oh, well, this unit down the road is going for, $80 and you're asking 110, and me, in my mindset, if I was running the store, I would go, okay, well, I'm sure we can work something out that you can get the first 2 months for $80 and meet you to the market. If they can, if they can prove it, or they go, look on the website, and I go look, and I go, oh crap, the guy down the road's doing a discount, and I want this guy today. I'm going to do the discount today and say, look, I can do that for 3 months, but it's going to go up to, $85 the month after that, and then by 6 months. And some people might be in and out and gone. Yeah. Before that,
one thing I'll caution you on that is I did a job in Georgia where we'll meet or beat any competitor's price, right? This is a brand new Class A climate control property, and they're trying to match themselves against a drive up non-climate. I'm like, no. What we'll do is we sell our features and our benefits of our property. And James, if you're going to walk out the door and you're like, okay, James, it's my last 10 by 10, it's $100 unit for round figures. James, I'm not supposed to do this, but tell you what, to lock you in right now, I'll get you 50% of your first full month of your rent with me right now.
Right.
We have a hook, and that's Bob Copper's butt discount, right? Is what he calls the butt discount. But we'll use that. But I necessarily don't agree with taking your price down to meet a competitor that you're better than.
I agree.
So I will, and again, in my world, and I've had this conversation with many people, like, we require protection plans on all our units, right? So you either take our protection plan or you're going to provide your declaration page. There is no option C. If you say, I'm not doing it, then you're not going to rent with me.
Right.
Because I don't need that customer that's going to be a problem down the road later because I didn't let them do something else here. Right. So, yes, I want every rental I can get, but I'm not going to devalue our property and our programs and our procedures because, James, you don't want a protection plan.
Right.
You either provide it or you take it. There's no in between.
And the quick sell on protection plan is and talking with Damon over the years, and talking with Stacy recently, what I find funny about the protection plan is the easiest way to tell somebody is go like, look, if you have a claim and you're going to use your homeowner's insurance is going to go up.
Right.
Is it worth that risk?
Yeah. Well, even the way we offer it. So we recommend, so if you're renting from a 5x5 up to a 10x15, we're going to recommend the $3,500 plan for $17, right? If they squawk at that one, well, James, you know what? We have to have something. My base model is $2,500 for 13. Okay, I'll take that. Did I do them any real favors? No, I still got a protection plan.
Right.
I can tell you right now, if you talk to Damon Emerson, we have almost a 15.5% upgrade in all our policies across the board. And we're seeing more of it online. We're seeing about a 40% uptick on upgraded protection plans on our rental process because how we configured our website.
Right. Not giving them any other options.
Well, no, we give the option, but we recommend it. It says recommended. It's got a banner around it. Okay. They can change it if they want to, but more people are taking that option.
Right. Plus, a lot of times, like we always say, if you're not on the first page of Google, right, then you don't exist. Right. So if it's on your front page and it's easy for them to go, oh, click, and I don't have to do any more research or read the rest of them and go like, oh, what is this? I'm just going to click the first one. It's only $17 or whatever the price is, because I'm going to have to pick one of them, and people are lazy. So they just want to go and do the easiest thing.
it's even like locks, dude. We were talking in Vegas about locks, right? We sell a lock with every. We're about 90% lock sales. People are like, well, we just include it as part of our admin fee. I'm like, no. So we have a $32. What's your admin fee, James?
I think it's $30.
Ours is 32. We pushed it to 32. So you
Yeah.
got $30 protection. We're selling an $18.99 disc lock and the protection man. We're adding them on. But the lock's waiting for you to use it. I mean, we have people who will return it. If they say, hey, can I return this? Yeah, you can. But you have a lock waiting for you. I can tell you that the headaches we have with people not locking their units have gone away because the lock's waiting for them.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's a necessity that
It's a convenience too.
And yeah, that they forget. So you provide it and automatically it's there. So when your boots on the ground guy goes and cleans out a unit or sweeps it out or whatever, he puts another lock in there with the keys and shuts the door. Da Vinci locks it, and then next person comes, they have one sitting there waiting for them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and that takes me into like the best practices of just general operations of a property. Like it should be like the customer first type of thing, and with the mentality that you're telling me that you're providing conveniences for them that they're still gonna pay for it, but it's appealing when they come to your unit, to your facility.
We've actually taken it a step farther, James. We just partnered with a company called Instabox, right? Because a lot of our stores are remotely, so we cannot sell packages in the offices. Mm-hmm. We now have a link on our website with Instabox. Instabox will ship you boxes to your door in 2 to 3 days.
That's nice. That's convenient.
You can buy they sell kits and bundles, right? So you can buy a 1-bedroom apartment kit, and it's got like 20 boxes in it. It's $99 delivered to your doorstep.
Right. Well, that's also convenient. And we've talked, John and I have talked about, like ice machines and stuff like that. Because the boat and RV, you gotta have an ice machine out front. People grab their ice on their way to go fishing, or they're going to go park on the beach for 5 days. They want some ice for their coolers or whatever, right? So I think it's always good to have the amenities at your site or available to them, not even at your site, but available to them, right? Like you're saying with the boxes. Yeah. So how do you guys go about marketing or advertising for move-ins, and how do you get people to stay from moving out? So like what's your philosophy behind it, or what's your actual what do you guys do to maintain your customers and also bring in new customers? And we talked about the occupancy. We know there's a certain sweet spot in each property where you want to be, right? But like, how do you guys, I know how you track it. If you're using SiteLink, I know how you track it. But what are you doing to maintain customers? What are you doing to bring in new customers?
Okay, bringing in new customers is easy. Our website is very, very important to us. And we use Sparefoot, which a lot of people love to hate, right? Mm-hmm. But I can tell you, last year, Sparefoot got me over 1,000 rentals, and my average cost per rental was $133.
Okay.
You can't get that with pay-per-click.
Okay.
So it's a necessary evil. It's part of the business. And I've always, when people argue about Sparefoot, my question to them has always been, I had 1,000 rentals last year. Convince me that if I wasn't on their page, I would have got half of them. And you can't.
Okay.
So websites are important. We're between our website, the phone numbers, we're closing about 48% of our website traffic, which is pretty good. So having a good, you said earlier about page 1 of Google, having a good website partner, there's plenty of them out there. I'm not even going to list them because there's so many to work with, right? The retaining part's a little different because, James, look, when you're done with your storage unit, you're done with your storage unit, right? There's not a lot you can do. We also through SiteLink, we very much want to know why they're leaving. Mm-hmm. So when they're filling out their intent to vacate, we want to know why they're leaving. So we're asking the questions: what, why are is it house ready, consolidating, done with auction, whatever. And then the other question is, would you rent from us again? Yes or no. And if it's like no, we say, hey, Would you mind telling us why? Tracking that data. So too many rate increases, stuff like that. Didn't have 24-hour access, things like that. What we'll also do is when you schedule your vacate with us, like about a week before your vacate's coming up, we'll send you an email and say, hey, sorry to see you go. Can we'd love to have you as a customer. You want to downsize, consolidate, get a smaller unit. We have options. But at the end of the day, when they're done with their rental unit, they're done with their rent. I've seen people will give them, hey, I'll give you 50% off the next 3 months to stay. And especially when you're full, it's kind of that devil's advocate. The one thing we have done on the flip side, when we're renting the units and we're capturing data and we're following up on the leads, it's critical for us that when we call you back, hey James, following up on that 10 by 10 storage unit, and you say, oh, I'm sorry, I got one somewhere else. A lot of managers will just say, okay, goodbye, thank you, click and hang up the phone. We're training our managers now. James, I'm really happy you were taken care of, but to help us to get better at what we do, why didn't you pick Quick Store self-storage this time?
Right.
And then we can log that answer into SiteLink. And then when we're looking at our canceled reservations, there might be something going on. There might be a new competitor we didn't know about. There might be a really good deal that we didn't know about. It could be pricing. But by asking the data on the back end why they're not renting from us, helps us tweak what we're doing. And it could be things that like, oh, I want 24-hour access. Well, we're not giving. We actually got rid of 24-hour access 2 years ago. We went to 6 to 10 across the board. Now, if you want 24-hour access and you have a valid reason for it, you can pay for it. It's $10 a month. But you also sign a waiver saying, hey, this is a privilege and not a right. And if you abuse it, you're going to lose it.
Right.
So again, we're driving a little bit more revenue. Not a lot. Some people do. The parking people get it all the time. But look, you and I both know nothing good happens at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Right.
Oh, I don't know. I disagree with that. But anyway, keep going.
Nothing good at a storage unit happens at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. All right, I'll buy into that.
Now, if you're drinking your bourbon at 3 o'clock in the morning, anything could happen.
Right. Right. It could be at a storage unit.
Why? Because I'm pulling into a liquor store right now. That's why you're saying that?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
not on screen, but sure, we'll pretend.
Yeah.
We know
No,
him.
I am. I'm literally pulling into Spanky's Liquors is what it's called.
Look at that.
How well do we know your brother, James?
Yeah. Wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So, well, that's good to know. Like it's 24-hour the access and everything, and what I refer to my boat and RV facility a lot because location and the traffic that goes through it because of being at the coast and being right next to quarter mile from the bays where they can just get right in and go right out to the Gulf, right? So 24-hour access is almost necessary in that situation because people show up at 4 o'clock in the morning so that they're out on the water by 5, right? Or they show up at 3 so they're out by 5, and then sometimes they don't show back up to park until 1, 2 o'clock because they spent the weekend down there at the coast. So
absolutely no. We have parking at a couple of our facilities, and they automatically get 24-hour access because they need it. Because exact thing. We actually have a guy at one of our stores who drives a motorcycle, so he actually pays for 24-hour access. He stores his motorcycle in the unit, so he's coming back long road trips, whatever. So for him, it's a convenience to pay the $10 a month to have that flexibility.
Sure,
but it makes sense,
right? So do you do that through Spider Door where you can set them for a certain time to get in and out of the gate since you guys don't have necessarily a person there?
Yeah, we through SiteLink and through Spider Door or OpenTech keypad or PTI keypad, you can configure the keypad through SiteLink that okay, time zone 1 is business hour, time zone 2 is 24 hours. All you do is change their time zone and allow them to have that. So it's really simple to do.
Yeah.
Even so, if you have properties that have like climate and non-climate, you can set time zones that they, the people outside don't go into climate control buildings. There's some things you can do depending on what you're working on.
Right.
But again, it's a convenience factor that this is going to be there and that they know. But But for us, it's controlling the flow of the property, knowing who's there and who's not there. Even my managers, like right now, we have a lot of property that only have a keypad in, free exit out. We're actually looking at the gate logs at night to see who's coming in late to make sure they're not staying there. We unfortunately had people right now trying to live in their units.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are hurting right now. Yeah, I mean, we've had it too, the same thing where, you gotta go like, hey, dude, you came in and you slept in your car, whatever the reason may be, and you can't, we can't have that because we don't see what time. And we're looking at the same thing and having an exit pad instead of just an eye to leave, right?
Yeah, loop, yeah.
Yeah, a loop, right. Okay, so you have the remote management. You do have, the hub and spoke. How are you handling, non-payment and auctions and all that stuff? Like, what's your philosophy behind that?
Okay. So in our world, if you're not on auto pay, you automatically get an invoice 6 days before the rent's due, right? With a hyperlink, why wait, pay now, click here. And we set everybody up so they can, we automatically make everybody's gate code, their web code that they can log in their account to pay their bill, right?
Right.
We run the auto pay. We're first of month billing. I know if Peter Speckenengle was here, he would say anniversary. First of month is much better. Sorry, Peter. Everybody's doing it first. So when we run the credit cards on the morning of the first, we're going to send out a friendly reminder email through SiteLink. Everybody, hey, James, your friendly reminder rent was due yesterday. Then we use some Express Collect, and we use through Store Pass's texting program to text the people, past due that they can get their bills, they can pay through the link. We also use a robocall from Storage Collections. So by the time you're late in my world, you're going to have gotten an invoice ahead of time, the friendly reminder, a text message, a robocall, and probably a phone call from us. So if you get your late fee, guess what? You lose.
Right. So what's that time frame? That
6 days. Well, and depending on the state, some days are 6, some are 8, some are whatever.
Okay.
Most of them are 6 right now. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing we did, James, because we have 50% of the first 2 months or 3 months, depending whatever special we're running.
Yeah.
So if I give you 50% of the first 2 months, and you get March, if you move into March, you get April and May half price. By the time the late fee hits in April, if you hadn't paid your bill, you lose your discount for that month.
Oh.
We go back and add on the loss of discount. So if you had a 10 by 10 for $100, we add $50 back onto your account because you lost your discount because you didn't pay on time.
That's good to know too. Yeah.
We actually have it in the lease summary. They understand that they're not, and they know that. Last month we probably added about $1,000 back onto our books because they didn't pay on. Why am I going to give you a discount if you can't pay on time?
Right. Yeah.
So between all the technology we have, the robocalls, the text messaging, and my manager's calling, we're going to call you until we get a commitment to pay or payment. That's the rules in our organization. I got people now. If you tell me you're going to pay the last day of the month, we're not going to call you per se, but you're still going to get the automated stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then if we get to the collection process, I don't know if you're using it, but we use Late to Lien for our auction process.
Okay.
They do all my letters for me and they do all my ads for me. Made my life so much better. Because you don't have to worry about, I forgot to run the ad this month, I forgot to do this. They take care of all that for us. Now, and then we integrate with storage auctions for auctions.
Are you running into any issues like because what our last board meeting for New Jersey, I think it was 2 months ago, we were discussing the whole newspaper ad that you have to post for auctions. Are you running into you seen any of that stuff? Or are you just handing that all over to Late to Lien?
Late to Lien does it all. They do the ads for us. They find the right. We tell them. So when we set up with Late to Lien partnership wise, we told them we give them January. We give them the dates for all the auctions we want to run next year. They make sure everything's in timeline. Then we told them who we are using for our papers. They're responsible for getting the ads in the paper and making sure the ad run.
Well, a lot now. I mean, because I don't know when the last time you read a newspaper, but I can tell you it's been 20 years since I picked up a newspaper, right? Yep. Because of technology. So a lot of that's starting to go to the wayside, and a lot of like New Jersey is our attorney is trying to get laws in place that we don't have to do that anymore. and do it some other way, meaning some digital way, right? Which is kind of funny because like I wouldn't know where to even look. I don't have any storage units, but I wouldn't even know where to look if my stuff was up for auction
So
online.
in Pennsylvania law, we have to do two ads, one paper and one digital. Okay. So we actually post our digital one on storageauctions.com, but they actually have a advertising tab you can create there. So it will advertise right on their page. So we do one in the paper and we do one online. So we have both, and now we have Virginia and North Carolina where we don't do anything in the paper. We just got to post online. So working with them, but we know which one. So we know what states have to do, and because Lake Deline and Jeff Greenberger, they know all the laws of the state, so they keep us posted when things are changing. But yeah, we post them online, and now Lake Deline's actually working with an integration right now. I just saw a preview of it with Storage Auctions, and I think Storage Treasures, both of them, that you can do everything through their page. You'll be able to upload your pictures from them right to Storage Auctions.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing all that for them. So, and I like the fact that they indemnify us and they have all the other processes, but it's made my life a lot easier that we still oversee it. We still make sure that the ads, make sure the letters are out, make sure the manager's doing the right things. But by having them do all the letters for us and posting the ads and running the ads, it's made my life a lot easier.
So I'm gonna come at you like I'm a brand new guy. I just bought a facility and I want to do everything that you're doing. It sounds expensive. So
how did you know that's what was my next question of what is expense to revenue percentage is? How did you know that's where I was going next?
Because we think alike. So and I go, that sounds expensive to me. So like, all right, so I'm a newbie, I got a facility. I'm like, okay, I wanna automate the shit out of this. And by doing so, wow, I gotta get this for that and this for that and marketing, and I got this and I got these expenses and I got that, and I want to put all this together and I want to put that in my underwriting model even before I buy this property. What does it look like as far as expensive? Expenses, not expensive, but expenses.
Well, look, there's expenses there's a cost for everything we do, right? There's things for that. Now, prime example, Lake Deline. When we decided to go with Lake Deline, our lien fee across the board was $100, okay, for the lien process, which covers a lot of the nuances of it. We augmented our lien fee to go from $100 to $125 that covered Jeff's cost of $12 a month, $12 per file. Okay. So technically, when we put somebody in auction and they pay their way out, we're actually making a little bit more money.
Okay.
StorePass has a cost for the technology. We use simple certified mail if we're mailing letters when we take over a property. Anything we've done, we've always analyzed cost versus value.
Right. And
sometimes, and John's not going to like this answer, but sometimes the value is in the cost saving time for the managers in the stores, because they can be more productive. So when you're using, when you're sending all the emails out instead of mailing out letters, or you're sending out stuff through the mail servers, hit a button, it goes away. The manager's not there sitting there stuffing envelopes, wasting time, printing out paper, wasting toner, envelopes, stamps, all that stuff.
I don't disagree with that. I do think there's some merit in having control of that from the corporate level versus control of that at the store level, and you pay for that. And I know, because the three of us talk about this stuff all the time, is there's a trade-off, right? So I know I'm running on average of 46% expense to revenue right now in my stores, where I think where James was going with that is in the industry, you see these brokers bring out these OMs and they go 32%, blah, blah. Oh, bullshit. There's no way you can squeeze it to 32% unless you're the one renting the space yourself, right? And that's not how we operate these things. Right. So my curiosity is, you do some pretty cool stuff. And like, of that cool stuff that you do you fall into the 40% expense ratio? Do you fall into 45? Do you fall into 35? And that's more guidance for the people that are listening to this call. Like mine's 46, and I don't do all the cool stuff that you guys do. Does that mean yours is more expensive, or do you offset it with payroll, or do you offset it, like you just said, with increasing the lien fee? What a cool idea. Thank you. That idea is going to be stolen. So
that's why we're learning, right, John? That's why we're learning.
I'm always willing to adapt. That's
Right.
why I say I don't necessarily disagree with that, but you got to figure out a way to offset that cost too.
Right.
So, yeah.
John, we're probably in the 44 to 46% range overall.
So very similar to us. Okay.
Some stores might be a little bit less, again, depending on the size of the store. But again, when we have smaller properties, we've negotiated with our vendors for a better cost, because I can't afford to pay $100 on a property's got 100 units for something that I can, if they got 700, you know. So I've worked with my vendors, say, okay, great, I want it, but I can't pay that for this. It's got to be
good to know, that's good to know, since I'm one of your vendors.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
It's good to know, because John's one of my vendors too. So,
but again, it goes back to value. And James, remember when we started the conversation earlier? I asked, what would 3 more rentals a month do for your portfolio?
Yeah.
Right. So if you got 10 stores, 3 rentals, that's 30 more rentals a month. Okay. If we're pushing the needle on rentals and we're really maximizing so Brandon McBride's a good friend of mine. He works for Sparefoot and Storable. Brandon will tell you I have one of the highest closing percentages for Sparefoot because of how we're operating the Sparefoot model, right? So we've got a better ratio. We're paying Sparefoot a little bit less money because of how we're managing, because we're managing everything right. So I'm getting more rentals. So to John's point, yes, you have to watch your expense lines. There's a cost for everything we do. But sometimes, I always say 3 more rentals will cure a lot of ills. 3 more rentals, 3 more protection plans, 3 more lock sales, all those things. So by looking at your valuation, James, that's why I up my admin fee to $32, right? Because in our world, we have a bonus program for our managers. My admin fee covers my bonus program every month for the managers and my area managers across the board. So we're not taking money. Yes, we're paying it, but it's coming out of the admin fee bucket. So we're not taking out a cost of units, cost of anything else. We've designed it that it works well, that yes, we have a great program, but this is going to cover it. Same thing with the, prime example, lien fees. We went from 100 to 125 on our lien fees, right? And we might start out with, 120 auctions. We sell 25 of them. So yes, we paid Jeff to do the files, but every time somebody goes in an auction, we're adding $13 more in revenue to us by the lien fee.
Right. So basically what you're saying is you're trying to pick up every nickel and dime on each one of those processes to offset the cost of it overall.
Right. And John did say payroll. We've been able to reduce staff a little bit. We have 32 stores. I got 12 site managers for 32 stores.
Right.
Now, are we a little heavy some days? Absolutely. But I want the manager there to answer the phone, because the last thing I want to do is miss a call. Because in length of stay right now, we're averaging anywhere between 18 to 27 month length of stay. And James, even round figures $100 a month. You lose one rental at $2,700 in value. John, you're here. What's $2,700 in value on a property if you add 3 more rentals a month? Huge.
$2,700 for a month.
Well, $2,700 in value for a property. So if you add 3 more rentals, and that lifetime value is $2,700.
So call it 3 times $110 a unit, 330 times 12 months, 3960 divided by a 6 cap. That's $66,000 worth of value to that property.
Right.
So, and that's only for 1 month. If that's compounded month over month, and you're adding, $40,000 worth of revenue per year, $40,000 worth of revenue per year divided by a 6 cap is almost $700,000 worth of value. Pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So in my mind, and I know my mind's a horrible place to be some days, But yes, I like to push the envelope with technology and using what I can. But I'm also on my team to make sure we're dotting every I, crossing every T on every lead we get. Because when we get those inquiries come in, like James, I can tell you every week my stores get a weekly email, how many inquiries, where we're running, what closing percentages are. We're looking at data on a weekly basis, and we're holding them accountable. Hey, how many rounds does the hub have this week? How many, even reviews, James? We're working with a company for reviews that we're paying for, storage to give us reviews. In a 3-month stretch, over 30 stores, I got over 500 reviews.
Okay.
What do those reviews do to your value, your Google page?
Yeah. Pushes you up higher.
And if you get more higher up, you get more leads, you convert more leads. So in my world, yes, I'm willing to spend more, but I expect more in return.
Well, and that's where the management part of your team needs to be on point, because if you don't manage the team, then they're just reading books, sitting in their office, not, and holding them necessarily accountable for those follow-up leads, and that's good to know, because if you're spending the money, then you're getting the value, and maybe you might even be getting the value plus, if you're getting the equal value to what it's worth, that's great. It's even better when you're getting the equal, you're getting equal plus value, right?
Right. Well, it goes back to it's simple things like in SiteLink. I just did a consulting job. I won't say who it was for. But I ran in their lead funnel report in SiteLink. And they had 7 stores in a 3-month span. They had 127 leads expire.
Wow.
They didn't rent and they didn't cancel. They expired. So we never knew what happened with them. And I said to the manager, it's a problem. If say you got a third of that, the rent.
Yeah.
Person needed it. They called you. We dropped the ball. Right. I had a boss years ago, and Jim was a fantastic mentor for me, and he tried to show me things. And at the point in time in my life, I was 23 years old, and I'm like, I don't need to know that crap. So I really didn't take full advantage of his wisdom. Right.
Right.
He had a sign in his office that said, "People respect what you inspect."
Yeah.
And I've had that motto forever. That, that's why I do, I take the time to do the weekly report every week. So my stores know where we're looking at, and we're saying, hey, Kate, we're not doing this. What do we need to do to help you out? It's not your fault, but what can we do to help you get better at what you're doing?
We're also holding them accountable if it is their fault.
Yeah. Well, that's why I just inspected that liquor store.
You're making sure they're doing their job.
I was making sure they're doing a good job for everybody else.
Right. Did they all say, hey, John, when you walked in, because they all know you?
No, this is totally different, man.
Hey, since you're looking at liquor stores, why don't you swing by one of the properties there, John? And
why don't you shut your face? Because I already did it. So, so when I put in the chat, I'll be right back. It wouldn't let me record the property on video at the same time as I was on the call with you guys.
I know.
So I disconnected, recorded the store so I could send it to you, and then jump back on the call.
John, he was doing a site walk for me, so that's why I'm busting his stones.
James, I think the point is, you said it earlier, and I go back to it, and it's a mantra I've had forever, and I got it from my old boss when I worked at Devon. 3 more rentals a month cures a lot of ills. Now, if you're not getting the inquiries, that's a completely different problem.
Right.
If you're not showing up, but if you're holding your web team accountable, and John knows how I feel about web teams and make sure all that things are right. Your web team's got to be on point, right? If they're doing their job for you and they're getting you the leads, it's up to your team to close them. And they're only as good as you train them on. So, and working on them, we've rolled out, like I said, the rental completion link through SiteLink, right? And I know for a fact that they're trying to do his world right now. 87% of my rentals are digital, James. 87%, whether they're on my website or the rental completion link. And I can tell you, like last month, if I look here at data real quick, if I look here, go back here, and I'm looking. So in 2024, we did 3,675 rentals. Okay. We had 928 true online rentals, so about the 25%. I did 2,070 rental completion links, 56%. So almost 3,000 of my rentals in 2024, 81.6% were digital. They were not done in the office, because how many times have you had a customer call one of your stores, hey, I want to rent a unit. I'm on my way. Well, we close at 5. Well, I won't be there till 7. Okay, they go somewhere else. In my world, that's not a problem. James, not a problem, dude. I'm going to send you this link right now. Complete the rental. When you get here, you'll have your gate code. There's a lock waiting for you. In the unit you go.
Got it. So let's. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, we're running to the end of time right now. So, because I don't want to make it too long, because I know there's a lot and we could talk about this all day long. Trust me, with the 4 of us that are on here, we could talk about it all day long. Okay. And I know that, but I like to keep the videos to about an hour,
okay.
So that everybody has a chance to watch it, gain some knowledge off of it, without getting too bored. So give us a closing statement of sorts that you want people to know about you, or Freedom, or anything that you think that'll help. Whether they're a newbie, whether they're seasoned, it doesn't matter. What give us something, Jim.
Dude, I love helping people. That's why I do the consulting work. I always do my first hour for free. But the biggest thing I'm going to tell anybody is know your data, track your data, and work your data. I mean, if you're not doing those 3 parts, you're not going to succeed.
So you mean if they're writing it in books and stuff like that, that's not going to help? Probably. I love those facilities, because that's the ones I want to buy. But
I do too.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you. You're going to be in Mid-Atlantic?
I'm speaking twice there. Yes, I will.
Right. All right, so I will definitely see you down there. Jess, thanks for stopping on. John, I'll call you in a few minutes. I appreciate you all being on here, and everybody have a good day.
Thanks, bud.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jimbo. See you soon.